So look, you want to buy your first big bike, but you don't want to break the bank. Well, I'm here at Superbike Factory today to show you the best beginner-friendly motorcycles under 5 grand for each of the major categories of bike, and at the end, I'll tell you exactly which bike I'd buy if I was learning again.
Now, I'd just like to say a massive thanks to Superbike Factory for firstly sponsoring this video and secondly making it possible by letting me in there to film. All of their stock is listed on their website and they deliver nationwide, some of them for free. So check out the link in the description if you want to find out more. And once again, a massive thanks to Superbike Factory for their support.
So look, let's start with the most exciting category of bike, and that has to be the sports bikes. And I can see why this might be appealing to the newer rider for the dynamic looks and the performances there as well, but I probably advised against going for something like the latest Panigale, not only because it's going to absolutely test your riding abilities, but it's also going to cost a little more than 5 grand.
Much better, in my opinion, to look for something which is more approachable, both in terms of power output and price. And what better than Honda's CBR 650R? 90 odd horsepower might sound excessive for the learner, but it's an inline 4 and all the power is really at the top end. So if you've got the right temperament and the ability to resist just completely opening it up, then you could just ride it in the mid-range where it's super smooth and easy to get on with. If you don't have those levels of restraint though, I'd suggest their smaller capacity CBR 500 as a better shout. Admittedly, you don't get that typical sports bike feel from the parallel twin, but at just over 40 horsepower, I'd say for a lot of new riders, that's a much more manageable amount of power, and it's smaller and lighter, which will make it easier to handle at low speeds, which is where a lot of drops happen. Plus, you do still get the kind of baby Fireblade looks, so I'd say it's still a bike you can absolutely be proud to own. Other options in this market at this price point include the equivalents from Kawasaki, so the Ninja 650, which is a bike I've spent plenty of time on, and it really is a good bike. 70 horsepower, which is totally manageable, and a nice, easy, upright riding position that isn't as aggressive as the sporty looks suggest. Now again, they also make a smaller capacity version, and that's the Ninja 400, and it comes in much lighter than the Honda, and yet with similar power levels. So I think you'd be impressed with how long you can grow into a bike like this. Super easy to ride at first, but as your skills improve, it can still be very engaging, certainly at road speeds anyway. And so for that reason, and the fact that they're pretty damn affordable, I mean this one is in peak condition and yet still under 5 grand, I think it would be my pick.
Now the next category of bike that is pretty much ideal for the beginner is the retros. They tend to focus on like low-end usable torque as opposed to top-end power. Most of them are relatively low in the seat, so that makes them easy to handle at low speeds, and the focus is more so on stylish looks than it is balls out performance. But there is a bit of a problem. They tend to hold their price exceptionally well.
In fact, I really did struggle to find stuff that came in under the 5 grand mark. So here are a few bikes that really are quite close. There's the Ducati Scrambler, which is a great little bike, Italian vibes, 70 odd horsepower, a nice torquey V-twin, and really quite lightweight as well. Or the Yamaha XSR 700. Now I wouldn't say it's as nice looking, but it is a great performer that's both easy to get on with, but can still deliver a bit of fun as your riding improves. And then of course you've got the Bonnevilles. I personally owned a street twin like this for a few years, and it's absolutely perfect for beginners. I mean, it's got the lowest seat height of the bunch here, in fact it's almost cruiser low, so new and shorter riders will find it easy to get on with, and it's got that peachy Bonneville twin engine that granted doesn't make a great deal of power, but it's got 80 Nm of peak torque, which means it'll pull hard from right down at 2,000 or 3,000 revs and makes it super difficult to stall. But yeah, unfortunately between 5 and 6k seems to be the going rate for these three, and so you might be better looking for an older Bonneville like this one, or this absolutely beautiful Thruxton I found here. While these two are still a touch over budget, you can find them at Superbike Factory occasionally for less than 5k, perhaps a little more miles than these two, but still in good condition, as you'll see in my best retros under 5k video, which you can find linked to in the description. So for me, out of the retros, a slightly older Bonneville Seville would be my pick.
Now, if you like that old school aesthetic, but you want something a little more laid back, then you're probably looking for a cruiser. And there's no name bigger in the cruiser segment than Harley Davidson. Everybody wants one, but the downside of that is that they also, like the retros, hold their price really well. It's really going to be difficult to find a good one under $5,000. Plus, on top of that, they really are quite heavy, and so I probably wouldn't recommend one to a beginner.
If you can handle the more modern looks, then you'll be much better off with a Rebel 500. It's a really popular starter bike because of the accessible price point and the relatively small proportions for this style of bike. In fact, they're so popular that while they had 4 or 5 in stock last time I was at the shop, all of them are now sold. But fear not, there are plenty on the Superbike Factory website listed from their other showrooms, and you can find that linked to down in the description. Small, light, reliable, but fun, the Rebel 500 is perfect for your first forays into the cruiser scene.
Some of you though might want a bike that offers a little more flexibility, something you can commute on, you can tour on, you can ride twisties on, and even maybe do a little bit of easy off-roading. And there's no style of bike more versatile in my opinion than the adventure bike.
So if you want something to go touring on the road but with a decent riding position and wind protection and luggage, then the Versys 650 is a great shout. It's the same engine as the Ninja 650 we mentioned before, but in this much more beefed up chassis. And they range from $6,000 like this one, which is almost new and gets full luggage, right down to about $3,500 for the older model that you can see here. But really, this bike hasn't changed a great deal over the years. The styling and bits of tech have, but the basic rudiments like the engine and chassis are still largely the same, so those older bikes are still great workhorses. Now the Tracer 7 from Yamaha is a similar vibe. Plenty of examples of these are all different price points, and it does get a 270-degree crank in the engine, which for me has a nicer sound and feel than the Kawasaki. Or if you want a genuine V-twin, there's the V-Strom 650 from Suzuki. It's a brilliant engine and lots of these on the market too. But all of these bikes are largely road focused, and although I wouldn't necessarily recommend lots of off-roading in your first few months of motorcycling, it is a great way to develop your riding skills and also a big part of the appeal of the adventure vibe. So for a bit more off-road ability, you could look at something like BMW's F800 GS. A higher mileage version than this might creep in under $5,000, or if that looks a bit tall, there's always the F700 GS. It's a really compact and manageable little bike. The fuel especially holds its weight low because it's stored under the seat, and yet it's just got a bit more off-road capability than the 3 Japanese bikes we just looked at.
But honestly, out of all of the styles of bike, I think most beginner riders are probably best off with a middleweight naked. There are always plenty on the market, so the prices are generally good, and in terms of dimensions, they tend to be relatively small and light and low. Plus, they're super versatile. You can commute, you can do sporty riding, you could even throw some soft luggage on and do a little bit of weekend touring.
Now personally, I started out on an ER6N from Kawasaki, which has a newer equivalent called the Z650, and it does all of that stuff perfectly well. The MT-07 is another good option from Yamaha, very similar in stature, but with a more lively nature and snappy throttle response. Definitely one of the most fun bikes to ride on this list, but maybe a little too lively for some if you've not quite fine-tuned that throttle control. Then there's the CB500 from Honda, which is really accessible on price and a little smaller and lighter, but I think my pick of the bunch would be the SV650 from Suzuki. It ticks all of those boxes on price and approachability as a beginner bike, but you get that proper V-twin engine that's also in the V-Strom, and it gives it loads of character and a bit of curb appeal too. Plus, it's absolutely a bike that you can grow into. You see loads of these at track days being piloted by more experienced riders, and that's because the rudiments are so good and it's massively upgradable with loads of aftermarket parts available. In fact, it's so good that I actually recently bought an SV650S for myself. As always though, I'd love to know which bike you go for down in the comments below. And if you want to see more of our used bike guides here from Superbike Factory, then there's a playlist right here which you can click on right now.